Hello and welcome to the 0-3 assignment. We are treating this assignment kind of as the notes and the assignment. So this particular worksheet focuses on operations with integers. So we're just going to hop right in and start. We want to remember what an integer is. Now in our previous notes, so if I go into my notes section here, we talked about all real numbers, and one of the real numbers that we talked about was this idea of integers. So this was anything from like your negative numbers, 0, and your positive numbers, and it was all of the numbers that were like whole numbers, no fractions or decimals included. So we're going to look at this particular assignment, this 0-3 assignment, which is in your assignment tab, and we are going to be doing different operations with it. So we've got our sum and difference, so adding and subtracting. We've got down here with our product and quotient, meaning multiplying or dividing. So this is all review, should be fairly easy to get through fairly quickly. So the first kind of term that we're looking at, any number from the set, and it's just what we looked at. These are our integers. So negative numbers. Oh, I want to change my drawing tool so that I'm not using a light color like that. So zoom in so that we can see this is an integer. Okay, now the next term is something that hopefully you remember from last year. This is the distance away from the number 0. So the distance a number is away from 0. This is called your absolute value. Absolute value. Now, some of you may think that that sounds familiar, you just can't quite remember it. Absolute value symbols are the ones that are like these parallel lines like that, and then you find the number in it. So these are some examples. I'm going to do, let's say we do the absolute value of 2. It's written just like that. And if you think about what it's saying, I'm going to just draw a quick number line right below here. If you have 0, and then you've got 1, 2, and we plot this 2 on the line, if you count the spaces, so starting here and you go back to 0, 1, 2 gets you back to 0. So the absolute value of 2 is just 2, because 2 is 2 spaces away from 0. Now, if we look at the flip side of this, and we look, here's -1 and -2, and we do the absolute value of -2, this is 2, like if we look here, sorry, I meant to change the colors on that. We go over 1, 2, it's 2 spaces away from 0 also. So we have 2 different absolute values, the absolute value of 2, like positive 2, and it's 2 spaces away from 0, and then we've got the absolute value of -2, which is also 1, 2 spaces away from 0. So that's kind of the idea about absolute value. The next term that we're looking at, it says 2 numbers with the same absolute values but different signs. So these are, it's a perfect example of this. We've got 2 has the absolute value of 2, and -2 has the absolute value of 2. They both have the same value, but they have different signs. These are called opposites. Now, when you have a number and it's opposite, this is called an additive inverse. Inverse. Now, when you have an additive inverse, like 2 signs with opposite, or 2 numbers with opposite signs, they're going to cancel out and you're going to be left with nothing. So these are kind of just some review terms, hopefully. What I'd like you to do is take some time to complete 1 through 9. You can hit pause and do this really quickly if you want, but all you're going to do is use your calculator to find the sum or difference. So sum means you're adding the integers, when difference means that you are subtracting them. So I'm just going to do the first one for you to show you exactly what I mean. So I'm going to plug it in. I'm going to do the -8 plus 1, 3. I've got my -8 plus 13, and I'm just hitting enter. So I can write this equals 5. And for each of these, you're going to plug them in exactly how you see them. So for number 2, this one's a little bit different because it has parentheses. Same process though. 11 plus, and I'm going to do my parentheses, -19, close the parentheses, hit enter. We've got our answer is -8. So again, just pause this for a second and then fill out, like come up with the answers for the rest of these adding and subtracting problems. Now that we're back, we are going to use a calculator to find each product or quotient. So this means we're multiplying or dividing. Now, just as a reminder, I know that we're going to be using our calculator, but it's good to kind of pay attention to what happens with the signs when you're multiplying and dividing. So I'm going to zoom in here. If you have the same sides, so if you take a positive number and multiply it by a positive number, you are going to end up with a positive number. Same idea if you take a positive number and divide it by a positive number, it's going to be positive. A negative number multiplied by a negative is positive, and then negative divided by negative is positive. So anytime your signs are the same, your result, the value of your answer is also going to be positive. So same sign equals answer positive. Whereas if you have different signs, so you take a positive number and multiply it by a negative number, you're going to have a negative. Or if you do a positive divided by a negative, it's going to be negative. And then negative times positive is negative, and negative divided by positive is negative. So for these ones, if you have different signs, you are going to have a negative. So you can kind of think of it like, when the signs are the same, you're going to get along and everything's positive. If you have two things that are not the same, they're not going to get along, so it's a negative situation. Just like you did before, if you want to hit pause and type these into your calculator and come up with them, that's what we're looking to do. When you are finished with these, hopefully you'll come back and we'll move on to these word problems. Now for these word problems, your goal, what you want to do is you want to write an expression that represents these word problems. So you're going to read through, kind of find the important information. If you want to use the highlighting tools, you can certainly do that. But then you want to write your expression and then solve. So I'll do the first one with you. The weather. Outside temperature was -4 degrees Fahrenheit in the morning, and then 13 degrees Fahrenheit in the afternoon. How much did the temperature increase? So we're trying to find the difference in the temperatures. So I'm starting with the afternoon temperature, and I want to find the difference. Difference indicates that it's a negative, and we want the difference. The original was -4. So I'm doing 13 minus a -4, and then determining what that is. Now, you could try to do this in your head if you want to, or you could just use your calculator, which is a no-fail kind of way to do it. So 13 minus, I'm putting in parentheses, -4, close it, and then hit enter. We're looking at a difference of 17 degrees Fahrenheit. This right here is your answer. So how much did the temperature increase? You could even write yourself an answer and say the temperature increased by 17 degrees. And then this makes sure that we definitely have the right answer, and I'll move it so that it fits in a little bit more appropriately. So always a good idea to kind of write yourself a sentence to make sure that you're answering what they're asking. Go ahead and try the rest of these on your own. If you have questions, pop back into the Zoom and you're more than welcome to ask them there. But once you have this done, that's all we're doing for today. All right, talk to you soon. Bye.